Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to our webinar today on complete cybersecurity for a hybrid workforce. Thanks for joining us, spending some time with us here at Alevity. My name is Paul Hager. I am the Director of Solutions here at Alevity. Good morning, everybody. It's good to see everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're going to cover some really interesting topics today. I think some new content around, this new work from home and hybrid workforce environment we're in. What impact does that have on security, and what are some of the industry leaders saying about how they're handling their hybrid workforce from an IT security perspective? We're going to touch on some new technologies and some new announcements. Going to share some videos from some of our great solution partners. Just little clips, nothing too long, but to introduce some, I think, really great concepts that we're going to go through today. As always, hang around for the end. Let us know that you were here. We're going to send all the content, the recording, and the slides we share every time. Hopefully you find this really valuable and you're able to share it with some of your colleagues as well. So with that, let's get started this morning. So thanks for joining us. Again, my name is Paul Hager, Director of Solutions here at Alevity, and we're here to talk about security. Unfortunately, security is, as we talked about, an escalator moving the wrong direction. It's in 2021 and coming out of the pandemic has not made things better. It's made it worse. So we have 106% ransomware. We have 128% growth in new Trojans. About 50% increase in mobile vulnerabilities really highlights the blurring of lines in this new world between mobile devices and your computer devices. Ransomware continues to thrive, with new samples increasing by 72% in this new double ransomware, where they both hold your data hostage by encrypting it, and then they actually exfiltrate a copy of it before they encrypt it, so that the bad guys actually have a copy of your unencrypted customer information. It's a really scary time from an IT security perspective. So this is an infographic provided by one of our vendor partners and solution partners in Microsoft, and it talks about, and Microsoft CISO has talked a lot about how Microsoft feels in particular, that hybrid is their future. And they did a study that showed 81% of CISOs say their organizations have started or currently have a hybrid workplace. We've seen that communication is at an all-time high. We are sharing more in the pandemic and post-pandemic. Email volumes are up 28% year over year. That's a massive increase in the amount of email and digital communication that we have going on, which is great because it means we are collaborating with our teammates and sharing information together. But it's also an opportunity for the bad guys to leverage that increased amount that we are using email communication for additional phishing and spear phishing attacks. We're going to talk about some of that as well. Networks are shifting. We're talking more and more to our clients about how their network and the edge of their network, which used to always be behind the firewall, has to be extended to these hybrid workforces. And so how do we continue to maintain security and privacy for business data, as well as for your employees and the difference that they have in working from home in their environment? We anticipate there being challenges. There is a 3.5 million individual shortfall in security professionals, and hackers are, according to Microsoft's data, attacking at a 579 times per second rate globally. So just, the massive number of attacks we here at Alevity, even within, the roughly 10,000 seats that we have under our management, continue to see attacks every single week and attempts every single day. And Microsoft sees it on an even more global scale, right? There isn't, on average, according to Microsoft, 50 million password attack attempts daily, and only 18% of customers have MFA enabled. 18% of customers have MFA enabled. We're going to talk about that a little bit more, and the importance of MFA and the right way to go about it. So here we're just going to talk a little bit about the layered approach to security and the layered approach to hybrid security. And we're going to talk about a few areas today. It's going to kind of be our outline for the day. First of all, identity matters. Attackers are attacking identities. And then we're going to talk about keeping devices current and managed, or you need to take these hybrid work devices and mobile devices and go virtual. and let people use BYOD, but give them a virtual infrastructure that is controlled by the business and secured. And we're going to talk more about what that looks like. And then, as you saw quickly in my slide that slid in before me here, but security is a team sport. We're going to talk about what that means and how you get your team ready for the team sport that is cybersecurity and get people excited about IT security. I know sometimes it's hard to get excited about IT and about security, but I think if you're here on this webinar or watching it, you understand the importance of this. And then we got to secure that home office. That home office is, a new part of what we are dealing with and what we are managing. And we definitely have to go ahead and secure it. It's a part of the network that we have to balance and work on, and it's a reason why we need to spend time on it. So we're going to start with identity matters. Brett Arsenault, the CISO of Microsoft, says hackers don't break in, they log in. Hackers don't break in, they log in, right? They are attacking the identity. They are becoming your employees, and they are getting inside of your networks, not by often really sophisticated planned attacks or guys hiding in parking lots with USB drives or things that you might see in a movie. It's really unexciting. They are getting your users' passwords, and those passwords are not being protected by MFA. And I've seen this statistic anywhere from 18% to 27%. Either of those numbers are unacceptable and not good. It needs to be 100%. Two-factor authentication, 2FA, which means, again, that you have your first factor almost always a password, which should be complex, should change twice a year, should include letters, numbers, and symbols, and should be longer than 11 characters. That's our recommendation. 2FA, though, that second factor should be an authenticator app, first and foremost. Then if you can't get authenticator apps rolled out consistently in your organization, then maybe text or call. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. It's often inexpensive. Your Amazon account, your Facebook account, your Instagram, your Snapchat, all of these platforms offer 2FA just for free. And even in the business world, if you're an Office 365 organization, 2FA is often included in the Office 365 licensing you already have. Now, if you want 2FA to work with your on-premise, you want password sync, you want self-service password reset, some of those other tools that can really save your employees time, productivity, and money, then you might need to upgrade your Office 365 licensing package. But on a whole, this is generally available, and it just takes the time to. And it is sometimes a culture change. People have grown. Why do I have to wait for my login code every time I connect to the VPN? Understand it. Security and convenience in our lives are at a daily battle. The best example I can give to this, I've given it for years in my prying data private eye speech that I give, all around the United States, is, Rovio, the company that made Angry Birds. That app was free. How did Rovio become such a large and successful and profitable organization with a free app where you shoot birds at pigs? It's because they were gathering data. The app was free, but you were paying not with money, you were paying with your data. And so our privacy and our security are always up for sale. And millions of people downloaded that Angry Birds app for free and said, I don't want to pay with money, I want to pay with my privacy. And they gave their data, their location data, where they watch and where they browse, and they gave it to Rovio, who then resold it to third parties. That's how they made money. I happily pay for apps because I balance the value in security. This is what it is. We're making these decisions every day. You can download a million apps to your phone at a moment's notice that will all have differing levels of security for you. So again, MFA is a commitment to security, and that's why security is a team sport, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. I'll pull my video out here for a second so you can kind of see this whole framework that Microsoft has set up within their environment, right? So there's the identity and multi-factor authentication, and then Azure Active Directory can evaluate and look at user session and risk. You can use things like conditional access and organizational policies to decide that Office 365 shouldn't be able to be logged into from a foreign country. That won't protect you from everything because the bad guys will compromise machines here in the United States and launch their attacks from there. But hard for them to launch attacks from your corporate offices, let's say, for example, which you can put conditional access boundaries around that or evaluate the risk of logins around that. Your devices and endpoints, what is their estate? Are they patched? Are they well taken care of? Do you have an inventory that you feel confident is an exact inventory? Do you have asset tags in every one of these devices that you sent home? The monitors, the keyboards, the docking stations, which are really hard to get right now. If you're missing a whole bunch of docking stations, it's going to be hard to find those right now. And then having one system, whether it be Microsoft or another SOC SIEM solution, monitoring all of these things, correlating email clicks and views and downloads to files being downloaded to computers, to attacks against servers, and all this data. Our networks generate a ton of data. And it's really important to have a suite of security solutions, a layered approach to security, as we call it here at Alevity, in order to make sure that you have everything under control. And I'm going to ask you to take a step today and just start somewhere with this first step around identity, which is to take the Zero Trust Maturity Model Assessment from Microsoft. And again, this is a long URL. I'm saving you from having to go through a click wall by going to this URL. Again, we'll share all of this out. We'll do a follow-up blog post where we'll post this link as well. But here is what the website looks like at Microsoft. And when you go straight to that link, you're going to get right to this landing page called the Zero Trust Maturity Model Assessment. And in the upper left there's that identities section. And just walk through those questions. It's like 8 questions about, is your organization taking the baseline steps to protect your identities and make things like 2FA and things like good password hygiene and things like monitoring logins for suspicious logins. And at the end of that model assessment, you don't have to give anything up. It immediately displays what the results of your maturity along this path is, and it gives you an option to email those or download the PDF report, and it aligns your gaps to the Office 365 solution that solves it. And so while maybe your team needs a little help getting those things, maybe getting those solutions built out for you, when it lists out each of those gap areas in which Office 365 solution aligns to it, we at Alevity here can take that report and just start walking through those with your team, or do that work for you, or continue to move forward your IT security. Some of it might require more licensing updates than what you have now. Microsoft has over 90 different Office 365 packages from a licensing perspective, which is why you work with a partner like us, hopefully, that helps you navigate that and make sure that you have the right solution at the right time. That 2FA piece that is so critical. Again, the best MFA is authenticator apps, then hardware keys. So a physical USB key that also identifies you. And these are made by companies like Ubisoft and RSA, and there's a number of other keys. Then SMS and call-based is last. Microsoft made a big stink about SMS and phone call-based 2FA. So you log in with your password and then you get a text message, which I know you have websites that you log into today that probably utilize that system. It's very typical. Microsoft made a bold statement a year or so ago that they don't trust cell phones at all as a 2FA methodology and to move to authenticator apps. And in general, I agree. And that's the Microsoft Authenticator app right up there in that blue symbol, then Authy, and then Google Authenticator. You can use Google Authenticator with Microsoft solutions. It doesn't matter. All of these apps are pretty universal. When you choose an authenticator app, all you do is download it to your phone. You probably have to log in with some initial base account. In Microsoft land, it's your Microsoft account, your Office 365 account. And then when you're setting up 2FA, if you choose an authenticator app, it's going to put a little QR code up on your screen. You're going to open the authenticator app. You're going to it's going to turn on your camera. It's going to scan that QR code, and that's going to configure everything that you need automatically. That authenticator app will now add that application into your authenticator app. And then it will start rotating through randomized numbers and digits. And it'll have you put one in there just to verify that everything is in sync and working, and then you're all set up. The nice thing about authenticator apps is that you don't need cell phone reception for them to work. The authenticator app is able to generate codes whether you have internet or not, which is a really nice advantage. And since it's inside of an app, probably on your encrypted iPhone or your encrypted Android device, there's kind of levels of security and protection around that application that are a little bit better than maybe even text messaging. Microsoft says that there's a risk that people are stealing SIM cards or convincing your carrier to move your number and steal your number and then use that to get into your 2FA. As that number from 18 to 27% continues to grow into MFA, right now, there's so few people using it, unfortunately, that attackers are still just going after bad passwords and a lot of brute force and a lot of phishing. But as that number continues to increase, the bad guys are going to continue to find more and more sophisticated ways to break into multi-factor. So if you take the time to set this up right, roll it out for your whole organization, we really strongly recommend using authenticator apps along your path there. So the second layer of security that we want to talk about is keeping your devices current and managed or go virtual. Patching is still critical. It is still important. There are security vulnerabilities coming out every day, every week. 20,000 new vulnerability reports were predicted for 2020, shattering previous records. It's 10x what we've seen from other years from a vulnerability perspective. So it's just absolutely critical that you keep firmware up to date, that you keep Windows machines up to date, Apple machines up to date, and everything in between. And when we say managed, we mean that you have somebody that is responsible for making sure that all those updates are happening. So maybe that's and we prefer an out-of-band system. Yes, Microsoft Windows Update can be set. You can set policies, but really we like using out-of-band systems. And that's a big part of what an MSP's value can be to your organization is we can make sure patches are vetted. So we all know Microsoft had a major print spooler vulnerability just a couple of weeks ago. And so every organization really should have gone through a discussion about the risk reward of pushing a Microsoft patch in an emergent basis out to 12 of your devices. So our feeling on that patch in particular was hackers had to already be in the environment in order to exercise that vulnerability. So that made it a little bit lower risk in our opinion if our customers have everything else in place that we asked them to from a security perspective. We waited until it cleared our whitelisting process. And so we take all patches, move them through a whitelisting process, pre-install them on a range of servers and devices, and vet them out to make sure that adding the patch does not break something else that is more impactful to an organization. I'm going to say both patching is mission critical and doing patching correctly so that you don't have a rolling outage caused by a bad patch because it was pushed out too quickly by a vendor, it's really important. So whitelisting can help ensure that disruption. If you have lots of remote devices, or maybe you put some Windows 10 IoT-based devices out into the field for work from home or hybrid work, like thin clients, things like that, it's really important that those either be in that same out-of-band management platform, or Microsoft Intune is a great option. Again, likely maybe even a part of your existing Microsoft 365 subscription, or an easy uplift into your existing Microsoft 365 that lets now Microsoft's cloud manage the security and policies of your devices, kind of like this thing called group policy that we have when your computer is at the office. But now it extends to wherever your device is anywhere in the world. And Windows 10 IoT is great for thin client devices, keeps that protected, can join Intune, can be BitLocker encrypted, all of the things that you are hoping for. And so we've seen a lot of success in moving to those Windows IoT-based thin client devices. Speaking of using thin clients, you could also choose to go virtual. You could choose to say that the business isn't going to provide an expensive laptop unit anymore, but we're going to make this shift towards BYOD, not just for cell phones, but BYOD even maybe for laptops. Maybe just letting people use Chromebooks like your students do, that isn't another risk surface that we have to manage. We don't have to put antivirus and patch it and monitor it and Intune it, all those sorts of things. But we as a business are going to provide you a virtual environment, and that's going to be protected. That's going to have all of the security goo on it. And then as a business, you can restrict things coming in and out of it, which is a real advantage. We're seeing this real blurring between the corporate and the private. When devices lived at home for so long and kids were at home doing school, we definitely saw corporate devices getting used in personal ways and vice versa. And adopting a true forward-thinking BYOD approach that means that we're just going to add a stipend to your paycheck that covers your laptop. Here are the general parameters, and we're going to have you log into a virtual environment. And that's where the corporate devices start. That's where the walls of what is corporate data begin, inside of that virtual environment. We're going to let you print But we're not going to let you copy stuff out of that virtual environment down to your local device because we know it's BYOD. We know it is end user provided. And this is where some really big announcements have come from Microsoft in the last just matter of weeks, right? We had Windows 11, the big announcement that around holiday time this year, we're going to see a new version of Windows, which is exciting. Also means that October of 2025 will be the last year for Windows 10, which has been a great operating system and platform. We had Azure Virtual Desktops get renamed. Those were Microsoft Virtual Desktop, or those were Windows Virtual Desktops, now renamed Azure Virtual Desktops. And I did a whole webinar on AVDs that I really recommend that you take a look at. And then recently in Microsoft Inspire last week, which is Microsoft's big partner event, Microsoft dropped something that we as managed partners knew was coming for some time called Windows 365. Always creative with the names, those Microsoft folks. Not Microsoft 365, but Windows 365. And that is a simplified version of Azure Virtual Desktops. You can subscribe to a desktop as a part of your Office 365 suite. And again, your end users can just have a BYOD device. Windows 365 strongly recommends that it be another Windows 10 device. But then again, all that corporate data and all that can stay protected inside of a virtual desktop managed by Microsoft. And so we're going to talk a little bit here. I'm going to play their announcement of this solution video here for you shortly. And then I'm going to talk about some of the differences between Windows 365 and that Azure Virtual Desktops that we talked about here in a recent webinar that we had. Azure Virtual Desktops, again, is this solution that we talked about in depth in another webinar where we deliver, or we help you using Microsoft's cloud deliver what's called Windows 10 multi-session, soon to be Windows 11 multi-session. It's optimized for Office 365. If you're used to using an RDS server, remote desktop server today, you can seamlessly transfer your team into this. This is only in Azure. It's only a cloud-based solution, not on-premise, but something that we can help you deploy and scale. It can scale up to support more users, scale down. This can start at a very small number of users and then grow. There's a lot of flexibility with Azure Virtual Desktops, and that's what we see is Windows 365 is for truly small businesses that need very little features, customization, no VPN, no connectivity to other apps in Azure. And then Azure Virtual Desktops are for those businesses that still have a line of business application that they need to run alongside their virtual desktop to really take advantage of it. So a QuickBooks, a line of business ERP, a manufacturing system, whatever software you may need. If you need some of that sitting right next to your virtual desktop, then we're going to kind of upgrade you from the needs of just Microsoft 365, which isn't very customizable, but has its purpose and a slot up to Azure Virtual Desktops. So let's talk about Windows 365, and what better way to do it than to just let Microsoft share their feedback and play the announcement video that you would have seen if you were a part of Microsoft Inspire, took the time. Short 2-minute clip, so stay with us. And this is officially launching with pricing and all that good stuff on August 2nd. So right around the corner, we're giving you a little bit of a preview here today. One moment.
This is a cloud PC. And so is this. And this. And this. Now any device can be a cloud PC with Windows 365. Hybrid work is here. With Windows in the cloud, embrace flexibility in how, when, and where you work. Streaming your personalized Windows experience from the Microsoft Cloud. Your cloud PC is always current, so pick up where you left off. All your apps, content, and settings ready wherever your work takes you. Integrated management and security with everything in the cloud. Scale on demand to meet your needs with company-owned or personal devices. All one seamless experience that's just a few clicks to deploy. The world of work has changed, so we're changing how you get Windows. Streamed from the cloud to any device to unlock your business's full potential. Hybrid Windows for a hybrid world. Welcome to Windows 365.
All right, there you have it. The launch of Windows 365 coming soon here to a place near you. So, You can see kind of their vision for being able to work from anywhere, all again provided by a single SKU we hit purchase for you and via our cloud solution provider program. You're going to be able to buy it through us. And we enable it for you inside your Office 365, just like any other Office 365 subscription. You can log in to this special website it'll be offportal.office.com, but it'll be windows365.microsoft.com or something similar. And then your user logs into their Office 365 with 2FA enabled on it, and they'll get presented the opportunity to log into their desktop, run their applications, run Microsoft Teams, have successful video calls, all those things that you're going to want. So here is that view of the differences, which I think it's important because we just gave a webinar on Azure Virtual Desktops. We did know that Windows 365 was coming, and it's going to have two flavors. It's going to have Enterprise, and then it's going to have Business. So Windows 365 Business is going to be priced per user per month. It's going to have no administrative portal to it, nothing really to customize. It's going to be a dedicated desktop to you. So if Microsoft ever loses that desktop, you better make sure all your files are being synced to OneDrive or Teams, because that's the way the only way we can protect it. We can't put it in a backup job in Azure or anything like that. And you can see that it cannot connect to, it's a single session. It cannot connect to any other networking. It's not configurable. It's all Microsoft managed. Windows 365 Enterprise will kind of be that step in between. It does have some management capabilities, and the networking can connect to other Azure instances. So if you had a server you wanted to have alongside of it, we can configure it there. But you can see over here on the right, this Azure Virtual Desktop managed by a partner like us. It really gives you that ultimate flexibility. We can manage it through the Azure portal. We can use Windows 7, Windows 10, Windows 11. And we can use multi-session, meaning that we can deploy one virtual machine and share it amongst 8 people, getting you even better economics, as well as we can have backup jobs running on your profiles and your data. We can fully back up and have DR across multiple sites in Azure. We're able to leverage the acquisition of FS Logics that Microsoft did several years ago to give you really granular profile management, meaning your customizations, your settings, your browser favorites all work even when you're sharing a virtual machine. We have lots of networking flexibility. We can connect to VPNs back to your offices to make printing even easier, and other solutions that might need to communicate between your on-premise environment and your cloud environment. And again, we can save you, tends to be able to save up to 75% off Azure peak costs by using things like auto scaling, where we spin things up and spin things down at night when people aren't using it. There is no concept of that in Windows 365. You're paying per user per month, regardless of how much you use it, as to where Azure Virtual Desktops has some flexibility to it. So you can see where Microsoft's trying to make a good, better, best option between Windows 365 Business, Windows 365 Enterprise, and fully customizable AVDs. And so you'll see the range, and working with your VCIO here at Alevity or your solution architect, we're going to help be able to tell you which of these options is right for you. And no matter which is right, again, we're going to be your partner. We're going to support you through it. We're help you transact it, so you don't have to buy direct from Microsoft hoping that they'd ever give you support if you had an issue. Imagine having no access to any of your desktops after going all virtual. You're going to want a partner that's got an advanced support contract or premier support contract with Microsoft, like us, that's got a dedicated SAM, support account manager with Microsoft that can make sure any of your tickets are getting handled properly, by the world's largest technology company. They make great solutions. They really love partners because they know they need partners to be able to be that conduit down to the small businesses and mid-sized businesses and even enterprises that are around the United States. So security is a team sport. Moving on out of going virtual or making sure we have protected, patched, and updated your hybrid workforce's devices, no matter where they live. But we need to create some energy and some excitement around IT security because, again, 28% more emails being sent means the bad guys are using that threat vector even more. We can sell you a lot of great security solutions that try to pull out those emails and protect you from them. But the best line of defense is taking the time to train your staff and get them interested in cybersecurity. And so the way that we do that, largely at Elevity, is we've built a relationship with we think one of the best email security organizations in Mimecast, and they launched acquired a couple of years ago a security awareness training platform. And we actually have a couple of platforms available to our clients from an awareness training perspective, based on which personality matches your organization. And not, we're going to talk a little bit today about Mimecast's approach, because it's humorous and we want people interested, right? What is the coach's job? If you're coaching a group of kids, is to get them excited about what they have to do. And so that's why security is a team sport. And these are some of the facts that make this so important. Ransomware lures are more and more going on, and they are using things like COVID and COVID relief and payroll protection and the child care tax credit. They'll take anything that's going on in the news and make that into a phishing email and really try to pressure your team. They use financial scams around these things. They offer free downloads. There was a compromise in the Chrome browser that was offering a Teams download, Teams for Chrome, which is not a thing, but people were downloading it en masse, ransomware, because they know people are using all these video conferencing applications so often. So again, all these things are going on that are kind of culminating, increase in communication over email, increase in people's level of stress, increase in the number of vulnerabilities going on. All of this is leading to a really challenging time in IT security. And this is their favorite one right here. Again, it looks like the Microsoft login page. The bad guys have done a fantastic job of making this look like your login, but you can see they're up at the top, and they'll put Microsoft after the slash. You can see this is at agileones.com, and they would probably do /Microsoft/login, something to make it look like Microsoft. So they might even do agileones. Or Microsoft.agileones.com. So the first thing you see is Microsoft, but really look at that root domain. What's right before the .com? It's not Microsoft. It's not secure. Your users need to know that this is danger, Will Robinson. This is a spoofed page that will grab your end user's password. They will log in to your Office 365 account, start establishing Outlook rules to forward all of your email in and outbound out to a bad actor. And they'll just start learning. They'll sit in your environment, they'll learn what's going on in your business, and it becomes a real nightmare. Again, hackers don't hack in, they log in. So it's really important that we invest in awareness training. Again, all the tools in the world are great, but one of the best things you can do is invest in employee training, and do it in all the ways. Do it in classroom settings, do it as part of new hire, do it once a year as a refresher course, and then do it every month in small snippets in an automated way. And we estimate the industry estimates the cost of a breach to a small business is typically just shy of $1 million. Employee training has shown to decrease that amount by almost a quarter. So even if you have a breach, the acknowledgement, the awareness to maybe unplug their computer, to maybe raise their hand and go to IT right away, or reach out to us as your outsourced IT provider and say, I think I did something wrong. I think I clicked on a phishing link. These are really great opportunities as you teach people more in your business, that will save you time and money. We just had it happen with a client. An individual had gone through enough awareness training to be aware. They knew that they had clicked on the wrong thing. And so we were able to get in and get ahead of it before it even attacked the servers, because the awareness was higher. This is just a quote from an organization that had leveraged Mimecast. Our firm's corporate security department has found the Mimecast training platform to be a very effective tool for developing, reinforcing, and preserving security awareness. Its unique method of presentation, being humorous and topical, was also poignant, is very effective. For the first time, we have staff looking forward to security awareness training. So like I said, we have a couple of different platforms that we offer for our clients. We have found Mimecast to be really interesting because they went and hired SNL writers and former SNL writers to write the security awareness videos. And I'm going to play a snippet. Again, I'm going to ask for a few minutes of your time as a part of this webinar to share with you just kind of what that feels like. And like this client of a structural engineering firm, put yourself in the CISO of your organization, that chief security officer role, and just an end user role. If you got an email once a month that asked you to watch one of these videos that had some humor to it, would you take the 2 minutes? Which is really important that people take the time in order to have this awareness training really mean something. So with that, I'm going to play this video and we're going to show you just a sample of what awareness training that people watch might feel like.
Today is perfect for a security breach. Click on everything. That's the lesson I teach. There's no time to think. Just click on the link, and then wait and see what happens. Hello there. Ever wonder who's responsible for most security breaches? Well, you're looking at them. What do you say we go get in some people's heads? See if we can't get them to make some questionable decisions. Sound like fun? For me, it's just another day at the office. When it comes to security, you're going to hear a lot about what you should and should not do. All those mixed messages can get confusing, which is why I'm here to keep security simple. Let's start with passwords.
Due to a recent security breach, we need everyone to change their passwords.
Again?
Yeah.
This is so hard.
Remember to keep your password simple. Doug, you use the same password for everything. Just go with what you know. Do you have a favorite password that you use for personal stuff? Good news. There's nothing wrong with using the same thing at work. Also, remember to keep your password obvious.
Hey, remember, don't make your password obvious. Right? Anything predictable is easy to hack.
And easy to remember. Sure, the hackers might get it, but you won't forget it. Use your dog's name and your birthday.
Larry 216.
Perfect. Keyboard patterns also work well. Felix, let's go middle row left to right.
ASDFGH.
Pacifica. Perfect. Now write that down. Even if you create a password that's easy to remember, make sure you keep it where you can see it, because the easiest password to remember is the one right in front of your face.
I am Todd #1.
Post it on the monitor. Classic move. Good job, Todd. You can also write them in your day